Hey, what's up, guys? I apologize for making things low-key. Like I said, this whole thing has been stressing me out. I need a little break from it. I still want to put up something every day. I think the giveaway that will have happened yesterday, by the time you see this, should be a nice little deal sweetener, I guess. I mean, I gave out, or I will be giving out, almost a dozen prizes, so I think that's a pretty fair exchange. A little apology for all the crap that's going on. I mean, it's not really anything under my control, but it'll be fixed as soon as I can. Today I wanted to talk about the state of the Vita. The Vita gets a lot of hate for both warranted and unwarranted reasons. As you know, if you know me in real life, you'd know I was a very avid PSP user. I carried that thing around until it was pretty much falling apart. I still have my old one. It barely functions anymore. I played the crap out of that thing. I also had a DS Lite, and I didn't use it nearly as much as I used the PSP. The PSP, having the extra horsepower over the DS, allowed for some more ambitious games, and I feel that carried over to the Vita, just not at the scale that people wanted it to. If you go on any kind of Vita blog, comment, forum, video, anything, even just something minor like when they announced the new PlayStation Plus games for the month. People are always complaining. They say we want more big games. We don't want these stupid indie games and all this stuff. And I feel kind of bad about that. I feel kind of bad for those people because sure, there are a lot of indie games that are terrible. You can take a quick gander through Steam Greenlight and you see a bunch of stuff that looks like Flash games that you probably played in middle school or high school like 10 years ago. There's a lot of garbage, but I think it's a little unfair that people have such a negative stigma towards indie games on the Vita, because the indie games, I'd say probably like 90 to 95% of the ones that make it on the Vita are the more higher tier ones. I mean, there's great stuff like Velocity 2X. I've done a couple videos of that. That's definitely one of the highest quality indie games that I've ever played. The music is great, the frame rate is rock solid, the gameplay is really fun. It could be a little frustrating. It's definitely a game more catered towards speedrunners and perfectionists. Playing that game casually is not very fun at all. But there's stuff like, Rogue Legacy, Super Time Force Ultra, Dust Force, Guacamelee, a bunch of other things I can't even remember right now. Those are, award-winning indie games. They're not just random junk. They're not Flash games. I think people should be a little more open-minded towards what gets put out on there. Obviously, they announced that there's going to be a Shovel Knight port pretty soon. That's another really high-quality indie game from what I've heard. I actually haven't played that game yet. I'm waiting for it to show up on Vita. I'm one of the rare people that will actually wait for an indie game to show up on the Vita, because, as you know, one of the main reasons people hate indie games is because they don't usually offer experiences that all the cinematic AAA Western press X for awesome crap that sells millions does. They're very much catered for short, isolated experiences, and that's perfect for a Vita. If you actually use it outside of the house, use it on your commute, use it on the train or the bus, stuff like that. If you have a busy life away from home or you're out very often, those games are great. You can get some significant progress in a short period of time. If you have a 20-minute bus ride to work or you're waiting for the train, you can fire up something like Spelunky or Velocity 2X and knock out a couple levels before your train comes. I think it's really a shame that people have such a negative stigma towards the indie things, but the main problem with all of this is all of those games are digital only. The retail situation for the Vita is very appalling and depressing. If you go to any kind of local game store that's not a specialized one like a GameStop, you will probably be lucky to see three or four, maybe 5 physical Vita games on sale, like tops. Like for instance, I live next to a Walmart. It's where I do all of my grocery shopping for the most part. A quick gander into their electronics section. They have one Vita game behind the locked cabinet, which is Tearaway. The rest are all kind of hidden away in the bargain bin, and they're not even bargain bin price. They're still $40. I'd say a big chunk of all of the Vita games are digital only. Even some of the bigger games, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, for example, was not released physically in America. I think it was released in Europe, but in America, it is digital only. And the main problem with that is the memory cards. Anybody who owns a Vita can tell you it is buying a memory card for that thing is kind of like, you know, swallowing your pride. You know, you can go get like a 64 gig SD card for like $20-30, and Sony is charging almost $100 for a 64 gig. I got lucky, and my grandparents called me up last year around the time when I got the Vita, and they asked me what I wanted, and I told them, you know, why not get me a 64 gig card. However, I am in the very small vocal minority. Most people are rocking 16 gig if not 8 gig cards, and if you play only indie games, you can get a lot of mileage out of that. However, if you try to play anything that was originally a retail game or is retail sized, you'll be lucky to fit 2 games on those 8 gig cards. The problem is made even more apparent by the slim Borderlands 2 bundles that you can buy in stores. That comes with an 8 gigabyte card and a voucher for the game. The game and the DLC, from what I understand, will take up over half of that card, which means you know, you can fit maybe, you know, 5 or 6 indie games on there, or one other full retail game. I think Sony really shot themselves in the foot with the pricing of their memory cards. The proprietary media has definitely hurt the system way more than they probably envisioned. It's too expensive. It's very easy to fill up, and it's just I don't really know what to say about it. They tried so hard to control the market of their storage media for the Vita. Obviously, they're trying to curb piracy. They're trying to curb bootlegging of memory sticks, which is very rampant. I'm sure at least some of you have probably bought some faulty bootleg memory sticks for the PSP in the past decade. The reason for that was the memory stick production was open market back then. You know, random bootleg factories could make them, and they would work maybe partially or not at all. The good thing about the Vita memory cards is once you do buy one, you're pretty much set for a while. Even me, my 64 gig, I've had my Vita for about a year. I've had the 64 gig card for a little less than that, 9 months, 10 months. It's only just now being full, and the only reason for that is PS Plus. PS Plus is an excellent service to have if you're a Vita user, because they are at the point where they've given out pretty much everything that you'd actually want to play on there, minus a few notable exceptions. The Blaze Blue, Persona 4 Golden, Tokiden, all of the Muso games. But aside from that, they've given away almost everything. There's been some really nice stuff like the Binding of Isaac Rebirth and Velocity 2X premiering on PS Plus, which is a steal. Obviously, having a huge roguelike with tons of content like Binding of Isaac Rebirth should be a selling point, but the problem is most people can't be bothered to pay for those memory sticks. I mean, we live in an era right now where most people, I don't, I actually don't have a smartphone, but most people, even kids, you know, pre-teens, have cell phones, and you know, you can get storage devices for them, storage media for them pretty cheaply, from what I understand, at least for cameras and stuff like that. And Sony is just charging so much, and I feel it's really hurting things, and the Vita situation is only going to get worse because most developers can't be bothered to make a physical version of their games because most stores won't carry them. Like I said, my Walmart here carries like 4 games tops. Only one of them is actually in, you know, wide public view behind the locked cabinet with all the other big games. I think I guess it's probably too late now. I really think that they had a chance to fix it. They should have just cut their losses and just allowed for the use of a micro SD card on the Vita 2000. I think that really would have helped things. It probably wouldn't have saved the console from its rather dismal and depressing fate, but it would have been a step in the right direction. I think having that would make it easier for people to have a higher attach rate. I have a pretty high attach rate because I like a lot of the games that they have on the Vita. A lot of the stuff that they have on there that is exclusive is probably not technically possible on the 3DS. They have a lot of really great action games. There's stuff like Phantom Breaker, Battlegrounds, arcade perfect ports of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Blaze Blue, stuff like that. Really nice beat 'em ups, action games. Obviously, the Koei versions, the Koei games, Tokiden, Tales of Hearts are for the genres that I play. It's perfect for me, but it doesn't have a lot of what the mainstream want for it. They want the dude bro games, they want the cinematic press A for awesome stuff, and all of that stuff dried up pretty much right after it launched. There was about maybe a year and a half of very heavy Western, non-Japanese support. After that, it all died out because no one was buying it. There was Call of Duty, the sports games and stuff like that they heavily advertised to try to appeal to that market, but it all dried up really fast and people gave up and sold them. I got my Vita for $120 off Craigslist, and when I got it from the guy, I met up with him and I gave him the money. I could tell he probably used it for a couple hours tops. It was in pristine condition. I could tell he was a more casual gamer. He had like Need for Speed. He had a couple first-person shooters and sports games on there, which I promptly sold. But I think it's a pretty good indicator of how they really dropped the ball. They really should have continued to pursue non-Japanese support. Right now, the console is really only worth buying if you like indie games and Japanese games. And you pretty much have to like both of those. If you like one or the other, you're pretty much going to have a bad time because there's not really much else on there right now. Obviously, the Vita is doing pretty well in Japan. Obviously, they have a different culture from the rest of the world. They do a lot of their commute, almost all of their commute is via public transportation on trains and stuff. And that makes portable gaming more viable there. Whereas here, most people drive because our public transportation is shit in America. I really think they should have, locked down some more non-Japanese support for the system. They also should have at least by now, it's pretty unacceptable that they haven't even thought of lowering the memory card prices. I mean, right now, they give you so much stuff on PlayStation Plus, and unless you're lucky like me, and you have a bigger memory card, you can't even download all that stuff. You have to drop at least $30, if not more, dollars on a memory card when you can get a micro SD card for a fraction of that price that will hold more data. I don't know what is up with them. I don't know why they haven't done anything about it. The 64 gig memory card is not even available locally outside of Japan. You have to go ahead and import it, which is incredibly stupid. It is the largest capacity for the Vita. Like I said, if you're an avid PlayStation Plus user, if you like a lot of indie games, if you like the numerous Japanese retail games, you can fill it up pretty fast, trust me. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the future of the console holds. I really love it. Obviously, I asked for help affording a Vita capture card, and I made the best use of that that I could until my computer crashing problems. I'll definitely be resuming use of that in the near future. So I'm getting good use out of it, but obviously, judging by the things that you see on here, I have a more refined taste. I like a lot more of the niche games than a lot of the mainstream stuff, and that's almost all that's on there. They really need to diversify the lineup. They need to lower the memory card prices, and I think that's really all they need to do. Those are the two major issues, and they haven't made any effort at all to fix it. It's really a shame. It's a really powerful hardware. The buttons are really nice. The screen is beautiful. It's got pretty good battery life, considering you know, the high quality stuff that it can do. For me, it is a replacement for a smartphone. I do not have a smartphone. I don't get enough phone calls to warrant paying extra for a smartphone. I have a poverty flip phone. And for me, the Vita has almost all of the smartphone features that I actually wanted, which was internet on the go, being able to play music, watch videos, and of course play games. But they haven't done much else to appeal to anybody else who has a more, I guess you could say, basic taste in games. They've done jack shit, and it's really a shame. I just fear that they may not try to tackle the handheld market again. The Vita has failed so badly. A lot of people are speculating they're just going to sweep it under the rug like the PSP Go, and they may not even give it another shot. I think that if they made one that was even more powerful, and they actually didn't lock down the storage media, they actually had a bigger variety of games to attract a wider audience than what they have now, which, like I said, people who like, you know, the stuff that I like in indie games, that's all that's on there past the first year. I think they could really have a winner on their hands. Right now, the 3DS is kind of going through a drought from what I hear. It's pretty much the way Nintendo's been for a while. They have their big releases, they have their own first-party IPs and franchises, but that's it. The third-party support is pretty crap on there too. But however, the Vita has it worse. The Vita, you know, at least on the 3DS, you know, if you want to play a couple, you know, random indie games for $5, you know, you can go buy an SD card for like $10 and be done with it. Whereas on the Vita, it's such a huge commitment. It's kind of like marrying yourself to the console. It's not something you can just divorce and, you know, sweep under the rug. You definitely have to get a lot of use out of your console to even think about buying one. But anyway, that's my thoughts about the Vita. I see a lot of hate about it from people who probably don't even have one. Those are just my thoughts from, you know, I'm someone that uses it almost every day. Whenever I'm using the bus, sometimes I'm waiting for, you know, my daily YouTube videos to download or process or something. I use it every day, and I love the lineup that they have on there, but obviously I'm a very isolated cause. You can go, like I said, you can go anywhere, and you'll always see the same thing. You know, Sony, stop with the stupid indies. You know, when are we going to get Call of Duty and Madden and stuff like that? And I think those people should have more of an open mind towards games. There's definitely a lot of really great stuff on the Vita that goes unnoticed, but still, they really need to listen to those people and cater to more audiences than, you know, the most niche fan bases. Obviously, the Koei ports, the Muso games are really great. DW8XL is a little rough, but I've been playing Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate a lot over the past week on the Vita when I'm out, and it's a rock solid port. It's just a shame that nobody's going to care, nobody's going to notice, because it's a 3.3 gigabyte game, and the people who have 8 gig memory sticks aren't even going to bother to buy stuff like that, especially when there's no option to run it physically. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to roll out some Muso stuff. The giveaway may have to be moved. We'll see what happens. It depends on if people show up. We'll be getting the computer fixed as soon as I get the funding from my family and I coordinate a ride. So please bear with me for a while. I'm trying to keep things interesting and informative as much as I can. It's just obviously I'm limited by the computer crashing. So just hang on for a little while longer. I'll be back to the stuff you guys really want to watch. Thanks for watching. Peace.